9:19 on this fine morning talk. Quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from the S&P futures in the green off the highs, or at least the highs since 8:30 on the jobs report. Right, December jobs report came in. I wouldn't call it a Goldilocks, but it wasn't the best report. It wasn't the worst report. It was kind of like if you had concerns that it'd be an extremely hot number that would give the bears some ammo to pull the market because we're in a possible Fed cutting cycle, and if you're doing that in the face of strong jobs and strong GDP numbers, which have the GDP slide up here, probably not a good thing, at least in my opinion. So we kind of left things open, and I think the Fed can still cut rates in a couple of weeks and appease those who want to see the rate cuts. Whereas those who are worried that the economy is screaming along, you don't want to have a situation where we have runaway inflation while we're cutting rates. I think you can kind of um, win on both sides. So we'll see what markets, how things play out here. I hate gaps, right? And then I also hate that we have like kind of sell the news event. So going to be important the first half hour or so to see what the market gods decide is going to happen here today. Hopefully some consolidation. If there's some selling at the open, we find some support, maybe a gap fill 689, 688 or so, and hold the line and then go into the weekend. Next week we have earnings kickoff. Also today, we might have a ruling on the tariffs, right? I think Hassett just said, that if they don't win in Supreme Court, there are other tools that we can get to the same place with. That's kind of, to me, it's like the market. You would think if the tariffs are nixed and deemed illegal by the Supreme Court, everything you read and all the folks on the media, oh my gosh, the people the tariffs got to get paid back. It's this whole circus of things that's got to happen. To me, it's like the market's almost I wouldn't say a non-event, but it's like I would think it's pretty good high probability Supreme Court nicks it and says it's illegal, and then you have to it's like, okay, well, they're probably going to use some other tools or avenues to go about it. Not only that, it's almost like the tariffs were used as a negotiating tool to get these deals and all this other stuff. So we'll see how this all plays out. I'll talk about RH in a sec, but take a look at all the overall market: 693 on the way up, 686 on the way down. 50-day moving average is looming there too. So that's why I don't want to see weakness. All right, that's overall market. Good stuff with jobs report. All right, so that's overall market. Individual names first. I did my top 5 stocks for 2026 webinar that came out last night. Thanks for those who watched late last night. It's recorded, posted. Hope you enjoy. Some of the names, hopefully I could scale in. There's names, and I remember doing some of the webinars back in the past. I'm like, wow, this is a really great name. I think Alteryx was one. AYX was one of my favorite names over the years. There's names this year that catch my eye. I mean, Frog is a name that I've watched in the past, but Heartful, HTFL is probably the one that I look at and say, well, it's a recent IPO, but that one really kind of like tickles my feathers, tickles my fancy, whatever you want to call it. All right, that's overall market. Also, the amount of stocks trading over there, 50-day moving average hit highs not seen since August, up to 70%. So the argument around bad breath, you could you could take that argument away. All right, overall market now. Individual names: Serve Robotics, over $15 yesterday. It is now up 48% year to date, up 14% again yesterday. Used the move to close some more of the March strikes out for over 300%. And then I went and got some higher strikes. Here's the thing, right? I look at it and I keep saying this. I think it's a $25 plus stock. I thought that was $10. I thought that was 113. I thought that now here 15. The thing is, other folks who don't think it's a $25 stock, they think it's probably substantially less, if not a name that probably doesn't exist in the coming years. Whether the case may be, has a high short interest. So at some point, there's going to be a pull, and the pull might be substantial. And when that happens, obviously the premiums are going to come out of calls. So locked a lot of the strikes in, profitable on the January strikes. Unfortunately, I didn't lock them in for the 10 bags I could have. But I'll continue to look for opportunities to trade it for upside. I just don't want to be in a spot where I lose profits on it. So if there is some kind of pull, I'll be quick to pull the last of the March 15s. And then I was looking to close some of the March 23s out to cover costs. They were 100% at times yesterday, but the bid ask was wide, couldn't get a fill. Maybe today's the day for that. I posted a video, Jensen calling out Serve Robotics at the CES on Monday. Some folks are citing that as the reason the stock has rallied. I just think it's in revaluation mode, right? The market's revaluating it for the 3,900% top line growth it's going to experience this year. That's that. I'm out of breath for some reason. Maybe it was doing the top 5 stock webinar yesterday as well. All right. So that's Serve. RH, it's in here at 221 here in the pre-market. 10% implied move on the options that expire next week. So that's insane. There's no event, no catalyst, there's no earnings. I would assume that's because of the possible ruling on the tariffs. So that's a good thing because the premiums are holding up on the calls. The bad thing is if the announcement on the tariffs is announced during the market hours, I would assume it would probably be after the market close. Um, there could be some premium come out of the calls, right? So I had the 240s. In hindsight, maybe I should have held those and closed some out for 100% to cover costs. But instead, I went and got those 250s when it started to bounce yesterday. I'll probably look to close some more of the calls out to cover costs, and I'll ride the rest. Just because if there's no ruling during the market hours, probably going to happen after the close. And then maybe we have a spike on Monday. So that's RH. Great monster trade this week. Also, take a look at a weekly chart here on RH. I mean, it's remarkable stuff. All right, so that's RH. I'm getting close to the market open. So added some SSYS calls yesterday, just on a chart basis alone. This looks like it's headed back into the 12s. Did my little rant yesterday. I don't want to go too much on the SSYS. I'll lock some calls on the way up there. Where's NKLR? So Meta announced a partnership or agreement with OKLO in regards to a facility in Ohio. So that stock is up 18. Was it? I think, yeah. Yeah. So it's up 18% in the pre-market. You have to think NKLR is like somewhat, to me, it's like apples to apple company, right? And you have to think maybe it's a name, considering it's down here at $6, that maybe a lot of folks don't know about it yet. And I think maybe that's some reason why it's stuck down here. But this is one of those names, like if it catches fire today, I might look to get some more spec lottos because I could see it trading north of $10. And I don't have the chart here. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Okay. I'm going to have to get off audio here in a second. So that's NKLR. Don't be surprised if I add some more spec lottos on that one. Obviously, nice to lock some of the calls in as well. SG rallied another 5% yesterday. Some are citing this new the health department's guidelines, right? Nutritional guidelines. What do they call it? The pyramid. It used to be the three food groups. Now it's the food pyramid, the food Ponzi scheme. Joking aside, some are saying this plays right into Sweet Green and some of these fast casual names that are healthy oriented, right? I mean, you don't go to McDonald's to get your fill of the food pyramid, right? Anyway, I locked those January strikes in. Maybe in hindsight, I should have held them. They were up over 100% yesterday, but now I have the February strikes. I think this could head north to $9 in the coming weeks. It might not be the quickest route, but like I've been doing, I'll lock some in on the way up. Another strong day yesterday. If it gets over $8 today, maybe get some FOMO. You can make the case, right? It's a great story. Insider buys recently. Trades at an extremely small multiple. If there's a turnaround in its business, you can see it trading back into the teens. Gap fill at $12 back in August, 37% from that level. So, lots to like on that one. And then Reddit, right? So I got those Reddit strikes on Wednesday. Still think this is going to catch FOMO at some point. So I'll just continue to hold those into next week. And then today might be Lotto day. So I don't want to be in a spot where I have a lot of call positions and we get some kind of greed reset day in the markets where we have a 1% sell off and premiums get crushed on names. So I'm trying to be selective, but today might be a day I might be a little aggressive on some lottos. Looking at some SanDisk. I mean, take a look at SanDisk. Sitting here at 341. If you had told me 341 at the start of the week, I mean, how crazy is the move it's been so far? But this name is probably $400. It's just a matter of how to trade it. So, all right, that's it, folks. Have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.